Yo, 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 guys, it is Old Man G here, back again with another match preview. It is the big one. It is Manchester United versus Leeds tomorrow at the weekend. But remember, if you're new to the channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, We United X, and smash that notification button for the latest Manchester United news. Guys, this is a big one. This is actually a big game. I am. It is sorry. I am very. I'm pumped. I'm pumped. And I'm old enough to remember the Leeds rivalry. It was quite big, back in the day. And Leeds themselves are so up for this game. So up for it. Shout out to Kobe Miranda in the comments. How's your fantasy going? Not so good. Not so good. I mean, most of my players weren't really playing today, to be fair. But although Newcastle are playing, so Clark is, so hopefully clean sheet. Maybe I should have put some Liverpool players in. I didn't expect there to Liverpool to put 7 past Palace away. I think that surprised me, even though it shouldn't have, because they have an ex-Liverpool manager as their manager. So it is what it is. But yeah, as I was saying, guys, Leeds. It's a huge game. It's a big game. This is going to be almost like a cup final for those Leeds fans. It will mean a lot, and I think that's where almost the caution is with this game, and that we've got to really think about, just how big this game actually is for Leeds. I don't think we have a big rivalry as much anymore, but certainly for a lot of Leeds fans going into this game, it's essentially like the biggest game of the season for them. And that's important because they're going to play in a way that's going to be very, I have a lot of respect for Bielsa. I like Bielsa ball. It's great. And I certainly think if Bielsa was coach of Manchester United, we'd see the attacking flair, and devastation and tactics that Bielsa would see. The only issue is that it means that the defense isn't particularly great. He plays basically a 4-1-4-1. So while one forward, in a case of Patrick Bamford, should be enough for us we should be able to deal with Patrick Bamford on his own. The reality is, if everyone has watched Leeds play, it's not just Patrick Bamford that's in the box. They are swarmed. When they attack, you have maybe 5 or 6 lead players in the box. So they attack together. They just don't defend together well, really. But they certainly attack together. And that's going to cause us problems, especially the press and putting, pressure on the likes of Maguire and Lindelof. Personally, for me, as I said in a preview on, I think, at Rich Sports, and check out his channel, I generally believe that we shouldn't, we shouldn't worry about defending. We are going to concede. We've been conceding almost so many goals, some set pieces in particular. So I'd be very surprised if we kept a clean sheet against. Sorry, I'd be very surprised. Oh, this way. Sorry, I'd be very surprised if we kept a clean sheet against Leeds. So to be honest, what we need to do, is take the game to Leeds. That's what we need to do. Red Devil Weekly, shouts out to you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Tomorrow has got to be the beginning of the end of our poor home record if we are really looking to challenge Liverpool. Exactly. And I think that's a key point. I mean, the title of this does say title charge. And that's kind of a small thing of what I think or I hope that Manchester United, can actually do. But in order to do that, we need to basically sort our home record. We do. Our away record is brilliant. We've got 10 away wins in a row. That's fantastic. But we need to be winning because of that. I'm quite confident that against Leicester on the weekend that we should be okay. But beating Leeds, is imperative. It's really, really, really imperative that we beat Leeds. If we're going to even mount some sort of a challenge, at all. Certainly if we do, and I think if I just get up I'll just get the Premier League table up before we go into the predicted lineup. Let me just bring it up here and then share it for everyone so everyone can kind of see where we are. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see that. That's obviously the Premier League table as we speak. Here we go. So Liverpool, obviously, because of that win against Palace, that very convincing win, they're on top with 31 points. But obviously, bearing in mind they played 14 games, 9-1, 4-1, 1 loss. Goal difference is now 17, which is that the goal? Yeah, goal difference is 17, which is basically the highest in the league, followed by Spurs and then Chelsea, apparently. When did Chelsea batter a team? I couldn't remember. Maybe the 4-1 or something. I can't remember. And then Villa. Anyway, Everton are now second thanks to that win against Arsenal. Hashtag pray for troops. Hashtag pray for troops, hashtag pray for DT, hashtag pray for Arsenal, because let's be real, guys. It's got to be tough being an Arsenal fan. You can't even see. I've got the table up. You can't fit the whole Premier League table up. And you can't even see Arsenal Football Club, on this table. We have to scroll. I think I'm still scrolling, and there they are. Here they are, right here. They're in 15th place. It just what it is, and they've got relegation rivals such as Brighton and Fulham and Burnley, who are not that far away from them, to be honest. And Brighton have a game in hand. If Brighton win their game tomorrow, they actually go ahead of Arsenal. Fulham, if they hold on for a draw against Newcastle, they have 10 points to be 4. And Burnley have 10 points with 2 games in hand. So Arsenal aren't in a great position right now, But anyway, this isn't about Arsenal, even though it's quite funny to laugh at Arsenal. I think it'll be 3-1 to United. Fair enough. But what I want to focus on just before I go into the starting 11 is just where we are. We're currently right now in 7th place thanks to City's win against Southampton. Dodgy. But they got the win. But we obviously have 2 games in hand over the rest of the team. We've got 23 points. Assuming, I don't know, is anyone else to play here? No. Okay, yeah. So long story and short of it, if Manchester United win tomorrow, because I think Chelsea play West Ham, Manchester United go from 7th place to 3rd. Actually, they go from 7th place to 3rd and into top 4. Behind Everton, or maybe 2nd, depending on how many goals we score against Leeds, and hopefully we score plenty of goals. Obviously, if Spurs beat Leicester, then Spurs will be ahead, but we will still probably be in 4th if they beat Leicester, and then Chelsea. Yeah. So, long story short of it, United will stay in the top 4 if we beat Leeds tomorrow, and if Spurs or Leicester, one of those teams win, basically. So, irrespective, we're probably going to be in the top 4 if we beat Leeds, and there's a winner from either Leicester or Spurs, and that's very, very important going forward. So I've gone through all that malarkey. So let's actually just go through the team actually. So remember, if you're watching, remember to like the vid. It really, really does go a long way. So I'll just get this banner. So just get the starting 11 up here. So here's our starting 11. Let's move that slightly. There we go. That's better. I think you'll be able to see it now. There we go. So David De Gea in goal. I don't think there's going to be any debate about that, especially because, especially after what happened with with Dean Henderson. Even though let's not blame him. It's not fully Dean Henderson's fault, guys. Don't blame Dean Henderson. It's not his fault. Well, it was his fault, but I do think that the sort of we made a mistake. Oh, David De Gea, come on, guys. How many mistakes did David De Gea make last season that we were, begging for, him to be dropped or better keeper, etc. He's made one mistake that doesn't suddenly somehow mean that he's now some banter keeper or terrible keeper. And to be honest, I would argue that one reason why De Gea has been so good this season is because of the competition. Okay, having competition makes you better. Same thing with Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw looks a lot better this season. Why? He's having competition. So you bring in good players, solid players in when your position is at threat. That's why I feel like we need to sign a right back. Signing a right back and signing a centre back for me are priorities, because you give that competition to Wan-Bissaka. someone like Trippier and a Chelsea centre back because we're just injury prone, screwed in that area, and it is what it is. So yeah, obviously De Gea is going to be in goal. Luke Shaw, I think, will come in. I think that Luke Shaw is better slightly defensively than Telles is. Telles getting bullied a bit, and I think Luke Shaw will come in and do a good job, especially going forward as well. Maybe not so much as Telles in terms of delivery, but his delivery has been getting better, So I think Luke Shaw will come into the squad. Maguire and Lindelof are going to play because most of our defenders are injured. And although Twansibi and Baye on the bench, I just can't see Ollie risking them. They must be tired. They must be completely and totally exhausted. But it is what it is with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right? So I think that Maguire and Lindelof are going to start. I would be very surprised if we throw in Twansibi or Baye into this game. I think probably they will go play against Everton in the quarters. I think we'll have a full reshape there. Wan-Bissaka obviously coming to right back, enough said. I've gone for a 4-3-3. Now there's a very good chance that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will play two holding, most likely Fred and McTominay. I don't want to see that because the whole reason we play those two is because we don't want to concede. To be honest, I generally just think that we're going to concede plenty of goals. So why not just score? Like, I don't care if we concede 3, if we score 4. There's no real point really in we've tried it so many times. We tried it against Leipzig. We tried it against quite a few teams where like we started cautiously or we set up in a way that's very defensive and then just scored a goal. It's just pointless. And Leeds are going to press. Okay, they're going to be a pressing team. They're going to press us really hard. They're going to cause us problems. So instead of actually waiting for them, giving them the ball to press and cause us problems, we should take the game. And that's why I think that having the likes of Fred and Pogba into this team is so fundamental. Kobe Miranda, have you seen the rumors around Moises Caicedo? Apparently United talk to sign him. Is that the Ecuadorian? I think that is that the Ecuadorian DM. If it is, I think I have seen it. The only thing I'll say is it sounds like a Palestri and Amad Traore thing all over again, where they'll come into the under 23s and see what happens. So I believe that we need someone to come in now. But if he's a good talent, we'll see what happens. What I just think is, Benjamin says, I will watch this later on still tomorrow morning, afternoon. Okay, Benjamin Rathbone. Shouts out to you, Benjamin. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for getting involved. I really appreciate it. And John, drop a like as well. Anyway, moving on. Fred, Pogba, and Fernandes is going to be my midfield. I think Fred for his tenacity. It's a risk in a way because Fred's touch on the ball is suspect, and he will get pressed a lot. But his tackling, his tenacity is also quite useful as well. So you're going to see the best and worst of Fred against Leeds. Losing the ball, but also winning the ball and tackling and getting involved. That's why I feel Fred should start. I think with McTominay and Matic are probably a bit too slow for this game. And will get pressed a lot easier. Then you obviously have Bruno and Fernandes for their passing distribution and ability, which I think they're the ones that are going to cause Leeds the most problems. And that's if we go down this route. I don't think we will. Kobe Run says, should Donny start to resist their press? I think if you have Fred, Pogba, and Fernandes, you probably will. But you could play Van der Beek in the Fred role. You could even play Van der Beek where Greenwood is. But I suspect that Ollie is going to bring Fred back into this team somehow. If he brings Fred back into this team, he's either going to bring him back so he can play alongside McTominay, or he'll go with Pogba and Bruno, and just sort of hope that Fred's defensive duties can see it out. But I do worry that if Fred is in that position, that he's going to be pressed quite a lot, because he does lose the ball a bit when he gets pressed, and it leads to errors. I think Troy Deeney mentioned something like this. Then obviously the front three of Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood. Martial getting his goal, I think, was very, very important. It gave him a lot of confidence. I certainly think Rashford in this game, especially with the amount of space, because Leeds aren't going to be a low block. Let's be real. Leeds are not defensively sound. They concede goals as well as score. You know, they conceded 2 to Newcastle. They scored 5. You know, but they still concede 2 goals. They concede a lot of goals, and so I just think that we can exploit that. And someone who can exploit that is Rashford, Greenwood, and Martial. Certainly Marcus Rashford. Greenwood will have his time, but Greenwood needs to learn a bit more composure and actually deliver and cross the ball as a winger where he's playing. He won't do it as a striker, understandably, but as a winger, he needs to focus on being able to be in the position to deliver a ball to support his teammates, and not just kind of running and trying to take people on and then hoping that you would find the back of the net, because that doesn't always work 100% of the time. Martial, obviously, it's good to see him end his goal drought, and like I said, fingers crossed that he can fire. But like, at least, you know, when a striker has tasted that goal for the first time, you know, you step in. I mean, there is an argument that Cavani might play because he's going to have his ban potentially if the FA have their way, and just the way that the punishments are headed out, it's usually a 3-match ban. So if Cavani's fit, there probably is an argument to play him because he's not going to play over games. You know, I'll bet if the ban starts from next week, I doubt it will. I think they have to respond from the January the 4th. So it might start from January the 4th, which is okay. If it starts from next week, then he'll be missing, you know, Leicester. Then we have Everton, and then who do we have after Leicester? I can't remember who we have after Leicester. I can't remember. I don't think it's a big team though. Mo, shout out to you, Mo. Hope you're doing well. This summation is way too open against Leeds. Would rather play Dime works better against the press too. I mean, but I think that's why I'm doing it, because like I just believe that we should. I know it sounds weird, but I believe we should throw caution to the wind, because I don't think that I know he's not going to play there. He's going to be too holding, but I just think that if we set up to contain Leeds and to not concede, we're going to lose this game because Leeds. I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds score in the first 5 minutes. They are that good at pressing and hounding, and they make our defense cause problems. So we should actually go out and attack them and their defense, because their defense is just as bad as ours. It's vulnerable. We have the players to do damage. I just think waiting to do our thing might end up being more problematic, given that we might not be able to get our half, because a lot of these players are very, very good ball control and skill and technique, even though don't have the same talent as a lot of United players, but they have that, and it's coached, you know. So it's going to make it difficult. It's going to make it difficult. I say we play Diamond, Fred, Pogba, really being Bruno. Yeah, I mean, my only issue with the Diamond really formation is just that, like, I feel like the games I've seen so far this season, we play a lot better in our 4-3-3, or a worse 4-2-3-1, and I just have an issue with playing. The problem with like the likes of Greenwood and Martial, because if you play a Diamond, you're only going to have 2 forwards on the pitch. So who are those? Is that going to be Rashford and Martial? Is that going to be Rashford and Greenwood? Personally, for me, Cavani probably has got a better distribution of the ball, but it's just difficult often to get those strikers into the game. Whereas I think if you've got those wingers, if you've got the 3 of them that you can all charge out of defense, it just makes it a lot easier, you know, in my opinion. Shout out to Jira. Hello, my G. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for joining me on this stream. Remember, guys, remember to like the vid, and share to Red Devil Studio. It really goes a long way. It helps with the algorithm. YouTube needs algorithms, so please drop a like, share, and support the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And actually consider becoming a member. I don't think I've plugged my membership perks in a while, but yeah, considering becoming a member for a reasonable fee a month, you'll be getting a lot of exclusive content from yours truly, videos catered towards what you want, Q&As, topics, etc., and also like custom emojis for your liking. So do consider becoming a member and joining Red Devil Studio. And thanks to everyone who's watching. Leeds never get tired. They will press. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So this is why I feel, for me, setting up in a way that is just about not conceding is not going to work, you know, because Leeds will keep on pressing and harassing us, you know, so we just need to outpress them. Even if we score a goal, they'll still come at us. So there's no point in setting up too defensively. If we do that, we're going to concede, and then Leeds will keep on going at us. It's going to be a big game. It's going to be a very, very tough game, in my opinion. But I think we can win the game. I genuinely think that we can win this game. And if we win the game, we go into the top 4. And with a game in hand, we're not that point. And that's behind Liverpool. And that's why I said title charge. Because to me, if we beat Leeds, we beat Leicester, that is significant. That is significant. We have Leicester away. We've got Leeds. Beating Leeds will shake this voodoo hoax around our home form. And beating Leicester will show that we can win away games against top teams, and we can close the gap. So if we're in the position where we are by beating Leicester, by beating Leeds, and we're only 2 points effectively with a game in hand behind Liverpool going into the new year, then you can now start to think, you know what? Let's just push. Let's just push for as hard as we want and see what happens at the end of the season. Hopefully win a trophy of some sort, maybe a League Cup or FA Cup, and obviously secure top 4. And to be honest, if you'd given me that at the beginning of the season, I would have bitten your hand off, because the reality is I still don't think our team is good enough, especially our defence. But when you see what's going on around you, especially with the likes of Arsenal, more so, Chelsea, you're still not sure about. City are okay, but they're still not scoring enough goals to my liking. Mourinho doing very, very well. However, very dependent on Son and Kane. And Leicester City and Southampton also doing very well, but I suspect that these teams are going to drop off in the second half of the season when the burdens of the actual league start to come in. So it's an interesting time, and it's a very competitive experience. We've got to see what happens. Before I get your predictions in, by the way, guys, get your predictions in. Let me know anything, and get your questions in. In fact, because quite a few of you are tuning in, and I appreciate it so much. So after I've got my predictions, if you just have any, we'll do a question and answer session. If you have any questions and answers, we will go through some of that. I always love doing Q&As. It could be about this game. It can also just be about just how Manchester United is in general, or maybe it might even just be about something else. So let's get your questions ready and get them in the comments as well. So as far as predictions go, 3-2 actually. I think 3-2 to Manchester United is my prediction. Like I said, I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet, and I think Leeds will score goals and score good goals. But I think that on the break, we are also as deadly, and we need that. And the thing is, unlike West Brom and other teams, although Leeds press and have very, very good ball control, they also leave a lot of space, and the defense at times is ass. So if we use the space that Leeds will give us, and if we counterattack, and if we go up them with pace with Greenwood, Martial, Rashford, and also the quality on the ball that Pogba and Fernandes bring, we should be fine. We should be good. So I'm saying 3-2 to Manchester United. Let me know what your score predictions are in the comments as well. Jira says, under Ollie, I don't think we will play a 4-3-3 ever unless we get a good CDM and CB. So it's 4-2-3-1 with Victor, the vacuum, and Hyde, the Hoover. We played 4-3-3 before, certainly when Pogba, Herrera, and even to be honest, after lockdown, pretty much after lockdown, what did we play in the midfield? We played Matic, Pogba, and Bruno. That was a 4-3-3 in my opinion. Matic was the holding, Pogba was a bit more advanced, and Fernandes obviously did his thing, and that has been our best midfield. Even against Sheffield, we played 4-3-3 effectively. We played Matic and holding, and then we played Fernandes and Pogba. 4-2-3, because when Matic plays, Pogba just has a bit more license. He can still come back and be creative, but I just think that when Matic played there's a lot more license to actually sort of to go in and do what he wants to do. But for me, 4-2-3-1 is when we play Fred and Scott McTominay. Will I be surprised if he plays that tomorrow? No. For me, it's still negative, but at least you got Fred there. I think if he plays Matic and McTominay, I'm writing this game off. We're going to lose the game. Let's look at some questions and comments. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to like the vid. Really, really appreciate it. Like the vid. It goes a long way. Oh, Rexon, shout out. If maybe new to the channel, consider dropping us a like and a subscription. What do you think Bayern 20 was defensive? I think that's a very good partnership. But the reality is that they're injury prone. And you know, I actually thought sometimes I was like, oh, why is Ollie not picking Bailly and 20? What's going on? Against Sheffield, one of them was supposed to play, but what happened? Apparently, according to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Bayern 20B had picked up a knock. You know, so this is the problem. They're injury prone, and that's why we need to get another centre back that's not injury prone. Because the reality is that what I feel Ollie is doing is that because it could be a possibility that one of Harry Maguire or Lindelof gets injured. And so if one of Harry Maguire or Lindelof gets injured, then you have to have those two there in reserve. And at least maybe one of them will be there until the other, whether Lindelof and Maguire gets fit again. If you take Lindelof out and play those and they get a knock because they're doing it out for months, and then Lindelof and Maguire come in and then they get a knock, then you got problems, and that's the big issue for me anyway. Oh, the Mark Goldbridge, yeah. Victor the Vacuum, Harry the Hoover. Yes, yeah. That's classic. That's classic Goldbridge. Luke Shaw and Fred will be crucial in this game. Exactly. Luke Shaw's upped his game this season, I think. Certainly from a defensive point of view and attacking point of view as well. I think that I think he's more defensively sound than Telles, but I love Telles' ability to do a cross, and he's going forward when he's allowed to go forward. But Luke Shaw, he's going to be key here. He really is going to be key. And basically just how Harry Maguire and Lindelof just do what they're doing, if they just banter or not. Team Takage 2, I know, is an Arsenal fan. Says, Arsenal fans still saying trust the process. I think Arteta's process meant relegation. I know it's bad. I know. If you're an Arsenal fan, it's bad. It's very bad. These guys were saying that if Ollie and Lampard were still in the job, then they'd get top 4 at the beginning of the season. I mean, the goal for Arsenal Football Club is to get to 40 points that season. You know, we're talking about challenging for a title, maybe, you know, staying in the top 4. Arsenal's goal is basically to get 40 points, you know, ensure Premier League survival so they can fight another day. That's just where Arsenal Football Club are right now. Hashtag shout out to Troops and DT. Banter. Ramitio Jongta says, firstly, Man U need new owner who really loves the club. Glazer and Woodward can sign on cheap and venture. Yes, I think we all agree with that. Unfortunately, though, the Glazers are that's not going to happen anytime soon. I'd love it to happen, but it's not. At the very least, a more realistic option is that we should at least get a director of football into the club to help us make good quality signings and to convince players to come to the club and play for the club. You know, that's for me is the first. So the owners are going to go. So at the very least, get a director of football. You know, why are we letting an accountant decide our transfers and how we get transfers and negotiate transfers? You know, get a DOF. Done with Arteta and his negative long ball football. Yeah, I know. Sorry. Who makes Rob Holding captain? I know. Give some love to Team Takage 2 in the comments, guys. Please do. He is an Arsenal fan. And like I said, his team is battling relegation right now. They've got Chelsea and I think they've got Brighton to play away. And there's a very good chance that they lose both of those games, you know. So give them some love if you can. I feel an Ollie masterclass incoming. We will shut down Leeds 4-0. Remember to get your questions in, guys. Get your questions in, and I'm happy to address them for the time that we have. But I am looking forward to this game, predominantly because like I just think that this game is going to be so good to watch. Because you know there's so many football games like dead and like City against United. In retrospect, I'm happy with the point, but it was so boring. It was so boring, and you want to be entertained. And I feel with Leeds United, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be open. It's going to be goals, and that's even if Leeds score first. But yeah, let's get at them. Let's score, etc. It's going to be great because you know we're going to start slow, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Will he shut down Leeds though? I don't know. I don't think anyone really shuts down Leeds. Well, to be fair, Arsenal did, but Arsenal kind of did it when they were down to 10 men. They kind of defended well, and very, very deep. But even then, Leeds should have won that game, to be honest. Now, I hate talking about Arsenal again, but to be honest, when I look at the games they got points from, they were lucky to get a win over us because Pogba made a mistake. It should have been a draw at the end. They were lucky not to lose against Southampton and Leeds because both of those teams couldn't finish and they end up with draws. So to be honest, 3 points from United and a point from Southampton and Leeds. I don't know, were they lucky in any other things? I think that was it. That's like 5 points. So to be honest, they should really be on 9 points this season. Realistically, they should, but it is what it is. I don't want to talk about Arsenal anymore, but, we're not Arsenal. It's just banter. In the CDM, we need Zakaria, not like Zakaria. Yeah, well, Zakaria is a good shout. I just don't know whether the club are prioritizing CDM. The signing of the Ecuadorian seems to be more of like a development signing. I think what I would like, here's my theory. What I would love is if Chelsea signed Declan Rice, which means that like they have no need for Kante and they're happy for Kante to move on. And I think we sign Kante. So I think if we can bring in Kante in January for a cut price fee, if you're having like a midfield of Kante, Pogba, and Bruno, and then you get a CDM, you get a centre back like Alaba, and we're in the position that we are, then I'm now starting to talk about title charge. If we were somehow able to sign Kante and Alaba in January for whatever reason, so then now I'm thinking, right, okay, let's go and win this title, because we've yet to play Liverpool yet. And although I don't expect us to win, we got to try and do something and get some points of these guys, because I don't want to see Liverpool defending a title back to back. Not on my watch. Jira says, question, PS5 is a good console, but what makes the PS5 so good? Because I don't have one in case I want to get it. Mate, I don't have a PS5 either, surprisingly enough. I still have my PS4. I'm the type of person that actually waits for the next edition, because what I noticed in my old age, as it were, is that like a lot of the first editions have a lot of bugs, a lot of glitches, a lot of problems. They don't have many games. A lot of the games aren't particularly great either. So I often wait until the technology is refined. So basically what I'm saying is I will buy the PS5 Slim. When that comes out, then I can give you my opinion on it. But I tend to hold off on the actual first version of it because there's so many issues with it. And also it's very expensive. So you basically buy a product that's very expensive, that there are a lot of bugs and issues that still need to be resolved when you find them out. Whereas when the Slim comes out, it tends to be a bit cheaper and it tends to be a lot better, and that's where I go. Yep, I agree. Matic and McTominay would be, under no circumstances should Ole Gunnar Solskjaer play Matic and McTominay in a game ever again. He shouldn't even play those two against a team like Colchester, so Cambridge United. Never, ever again. Don't play those two together. If you're going to play Van der Beek and McTominay, or Van der Beek and Matic, don't play Matic and McTominay. Don't do that ever again, Ollie. That was your biggest mistake against Leipzig. When I saw those two, I was like, are you having a laugh? That is an absolute joke. I know we missed Fred in that game. Even McTominay and Van der Beek would have been better. But McTominay and Matic, no. Terrible. Don't do it again. Kobe, do you think McTominay will start since he didn't start midweek? This is what I'm saying. Although I love this team, I have a feeling it's going to be McTominay and Fred. I have a very, very big feeling it's going to be McTominay and Fred that are going to be playing. I'm almost 90% sure it's going to be McTominay and Fred playing, even though I feel like that I still think gives us a bit of negativity. I think we need a bit of creativity in our midfield to create things for our front players to do the damage. You saw how he played against Sheffield and just how beautiful it was. The score flattered Sheffield, to be honest. We played very, very well for the majority of the game. It is what it is. Same thing against Southampton in the first half. Yes, we conceded, but we played very, very, very well. So I think we need to just keep that up, really. Keep on reading the comments. If other club like Chelsea, Real, City, etc., can sign what they want, then why not ask? What's a big club owner? Yeah, I mean, there is an argument. You're right. Although I'd argue that Real Madrid don't have as much money anymore. But yeah, we should be able to, but we don't have a director of football, someone who can negotiate, and that's why we have a lot of problems. And this is also why. IMAX, shout out to you, buddy. I need to respond to your comments, actually. So, good win against Southampton. Fair play. And Southampton, a very difficult team. So good win to you, mate. The rotation, but you're right. The rotation point is spot on, and we do need to rotate, and that is a big thing going into this game. It's very, very important that we actually rotate our players. I think that against Everton in the Carabao, we'll play a lot of like second teamers. I think against Leicester on Tuesday away is going to be quite big. So in an ideal world, I want us to basically kind of like in the first half, and that's why I say we shouldn't start so defensive. So I want in the first half, in an ideal world, put 3 or 4 past this Leeds team, silence them, kill their morale, so that we can rest players, because we're going to be playing Leicester City on, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's going to be tough. I think it's Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, before Christmas, and then Boxing Day on the Saturday, we're playing again, you know. Are we? Let me have a look. Let me have a look at our fixtures, because I think it's just ridiculous how these fixtures. Like, yes, we play. No, I'm wrong. Thank God we don't play. Okay, no, we play Everton in the EFL Cup, the Carabao Cup on Wednesday. I think some other teams are playing midweek, but we don't. I think we have. We're not going to play that because we've got a Carabao Cup, and then on Saturday we play Leicester against United, and that following Tuesday we play Wolves at home, which will obviously be a difficult game. That's to clarify that. What centre back would you sign if you had 50 million? David Alaba. I don't think David Alaba would go for more right now, because there's not really a lot of top quality centre backs really. That's pacey, and I'd steal Gabriel from Arsenal. I think he's quite solid. Thiago Silva as well. Mm-hmm. If because I think he's only got a year contract at Chelsea. Who else? I just can't think of many world-class centre backs for 50 million really that will go. I generally can't. Maybe post them in the comments, because I generally can't. I generally cannot think of any world-class centre backs that would cost that amount of money. Question: who has a better cross, Telles or Trent? It's got to be Trent so far. We'll see much from Telles, but Trent historically has. Now we'll see now, because he still looks, from what I can see, a bit rusty. So from the injury, so we'll see what happens. So based on history, I'd say Trent. But Telles' delivery is also very good, and we need to see more of that. And that needs to even be encouraged, because I think he's been told to be a bit more defensive, which I don't think is right. Yeah, it's not all Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's fault. I agree with that. I don't think it's all Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's fault, but I think a director of football is important, and I do blame the Glazers and Woodward. But getting a DOF is you're not going to be able to get rid of the Glazers and Glazers certainly anytime soon. But getting a DOF, I think, could take the team forward, and I agree with that. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I've watched much of Zakaria to really comment. I'm going to be watching a bit more of him, but I can't really say without really seeing him. To be honest, I don't know. I think right now I'm of the mindset that I think that we need to sign proven players. You know, not potential players. You know, and I mean proven players at the highest level. And when you look at the likes of Chelsea, for example, you can see they signed Kai Havertz and Werner, and it's still their first season, so we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, like, those were also players that had a good first season that were potential players. And yet you look at them at Chelsea and you're like, was Havertz really worth 100 million? Really? So we have a lot of potential players, but we need players that can come into the team that we know that are reliable. So, like, for me, a non-potential player is Thiago Silva. You know, Thiago Silva is a solid defender. Yes, he's a bit older, but he'll give you the leadership, etc. Proven, comes in, does exactly that. You know, that's my perspective of things. So with any player that we're linked that comes into starting 11, I'm like, this player needs to show that he can perform at the highest level. And if he can and he wants to come, pay him the wages. Beef Bully, shout out to your chief. Remember, guys, like the vid, guys, all we're watching. Red Devil, my score, I say 2-1 Martial Rashford. About time we win at home, a home game, and score goals. Go Manchester United. And I agree with that. I absolutely, totally agree with that. Because at the end of the day, we need to get rid of this home form thing. This home form thing that has been plaguing us. Because I think we've only won one game. It must be, yeah. The only game I can remember us winning is West Brom, because we beat West Brom, but we lost to Palace, we lost to Spurs, lost to Arsenal, drew with Chelsea, and drew with City. So we have 3 losses, 2 draws, and 1 win. Whereas our away form, convincingly, like we basically won our games. We beat Brighton, beat Newcastle, beat Southampton, beat West Ham, beat Sheffield. That's 5. Did we beat anyone else away? I can't think of. Oh, beat Everton. You know, so that's 12. That's 12. So, you know, we need to make that change. And that's why I say that if we beat Leeds and beat Leicester, if we win these next 2 games, then I'm now starting to think that, you know, we get good backing in January, then we could potentially do something this season. You just got to see what happens. At the very least, if we win those games, then maybe you could start to say we could potentially challenge Liverpool. Not saying that we'll win, but we could. Mo, why do we always start supporting concede silly goals? I don't know. Because our captain Harry Maguire doesn't want to organize the back. Because we're complacent. I don't know. I generally don't know why we do it. I don't know why we concede, why we continue to defend zonally. I don't. But against Leeds, we need to wake up and not do that, because Leeds are going to come at us fast. The only thing saving us is that we have good players up front that can do the business and can score goals. You know, I love Bamford, love Phillips with Rafinha. They're very good players for Leeds, but Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood are far more clinical than the Leeds players are. But the most important thing in this game, one reason why I say that we need to play nights of Pogba and Fernandes, is that we need to get hold of the ball. Leeds are very good at holding onto the ball and pressing and doing their thing. And we need to get possession. If we get possession, we'll cause damage. But if we don't, you know, it might cause problems. Kobe says, how much money do Chelsea have? They already spent 200 million plus in the summer, and now they're planning on signing Rice 155. I mean, Abramovich has pockets that know no end at the end of the day. The question is, how long will he tolerate Frank Lampard for, is the thing. Because if you have all that money, and this is the thing on Chelsea, is that they will spend money, they get a coach to fit them, not the other way around. So you know, with a lot of United players, like, oh, which player would come to United? No. The thing with Chelsea is that, irrespective of what coach is there, they're still going to buy the quality players to come in and do the job. It's just how a big club is run. But obviously, much will be expected from Lampard to actually, to actually do something. And if he doesn't do something, then there's a problem. Jira again. What if we sign Kante? It's not like where he was in 2016, but now he's older, getting away from his prime. So yeah, exactly. Like, this is the thing. Like, it's not that he's prime, but he's still better than what we have. I still think Kante is a CDM. And you got to remember the context the midfield is going into. He would be going into midfield with Pogba and Fernandes. You know, whereas at Chelsea, he's got Kovacic and Mount. You know, come on, there's no comparison really. And I think as well in Chelsea, he's expected to do more going forward. Whereas I think at Man United, we'd very much tell him, just sit back, just sweep up, just do that. You don't have to, you know, the last couple of years, he's expected to go forward a lot more. I think at United, we already have those types of players. So it's like, no, you come in, you sit back, and you just do the job just there. Do you think Rashford is a good player but needs to improve his final third? I think it's decision making, like Greenwood. It's decision making. It's sometimes like his I think his ability is good. Sorry, my mouth's getting a bit dry. But his decision making does need to be better. His decision making does need to improve because it's not. He does, unlike with Greenwood as well. Like, you know, wingers as forwards, you know, they want to come in. Okay, instead of making the pass to Martial, instead you take the shot on. You know, instead of, you know, putting the ball in the far post, you shoot it straight at the keeper. Stuff like that. So his decision making needs to improve. Remember to like the vid, guys. Like the vid, like the vid, and share and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. And consider becoming a member and support Oman G on hopefully more fantastic content. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. And yeah, just show your support. I really appreciate it. I do. So I really do. Have a look. Jira, yeah. Kobe, okay, yeah. That. We also have the Burnley game in hand to play at some point. So yeah, exactly, we do. Whenever we have to play that. That's why I think that these for me, Leeds and Leicester are important. Winning these two games puts us in a very strong position with the game in hand that we have. Unfortunately, certain results today didn't really go our way. You know, City and Liverpool. I think Liverpool are going to win the remaining games of the year. I think they're going to beat I think they have Newcastle and West Brom. I expect them to beat West Brom at Anfield. Newcastle away, it could be a banana skin. It could be a draw. You don't know, but I still expect them to win. City, you don't know. Spurs and so on, we'll see. But for me, it's imperative that we win our next two games with that game in hand going forward if we're going to challenge. If it's about getting top four, to be honest, I think we should be okay. But I'm interested to see who's going to fall out because you have Spurs, Chelsea, City, Leicester, and Liverpool. And one of those guys, or two or three of those guys are going to have to drop out at some point. What do you think about Vestergaard? Solid. He's more solid. But again, the problem with Vestergaard is that, again, lack of pace. I mean, he couldn't even get onto Cavani when he scored that wonder goal for us to win the game. Man, I love that game. Cavani! Man, geez, I was hyped. I was hyped when he scored that third goal. I was like, let's go. But unfortunately, he's going to get the ban, which if it's going to happen, it should happen like right now rather than like it being dragged on. But yeah, Vestergaard is solid, but just yesterday he's too slow. Yes, I agree with that. Upamecano, yeah, Upamecano. Upamecano is the opposite. Upamecano's got a lot of pace. When he did play for Leipzig in Champions League, I did think at times that the bit suspect. Like he's not as brilliant as we think. So I think 40 million to 50. I wouldn't pay 80 or 90 million for Upamecano. No way. Something anywhere between 40 to 50 million, especially if we sell Rojo, Jones. Yeah, well, if we sell Rojo and Jones, let those guys leave cup. Maybe Sergio Mel will have to leave as well, and we can get something like maybe a combined 30 million for those three. You can maybe get 40 million. Like you could sell Romero for 15 million. You could sell Jones for probably 15 million, and you could sell, and obviously even Lingard, or he'll probably go on loan. You could sell Rojo probably. You could sell all those three for probably 50 million each, and get 45 and use that money to buy up Meccano. Then I have no problem with it. But I certainly wouldn't be spending 80 something on him. Just like, to be fair, as much as I hate the fact that we didn't get Sancho in the summer, am I really regretting the fact that we didn't get Sancho? Because Sancho has not been great at all this season for Dortmund. You know, he's been awful. Is he really worth 120 million? No. And there's no way, after seeing what Southampton's been performing, that United are going to be forking out 100, 120 million on Jadon Sancho. So maybe that's a bullet dodged. Who knows? If anything, Rashford looks quite good on the right-hand side. That is the thing, actually. Actually, I didn't even think about that, actually. If Cavani is actually fit, going back to his lineup, I would prefer that we actually played Rashford on the right, Martial on the left, and Cavani up top. I would actually generally prefer that if Cavani's fit and can be involved in Leeds, put Cavani in and put Rashford on the right, Martial on the left. I think that would be really good. I think that'd be very good. That's also an option. Nah. Yeah, like I said, for the reason before, I just think that you're going to have the same Lindelof-Maguire situation because of his lack of pace. People still talking. Don't want to throw Havertz on the bus, but he's been a flop. Ziyech is much better, and they got him for half the price. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's still his first season, so you see what happens. But honestly, I don't really know. He's not been any better than Mason Mount. And they spent 80 million plus add-ons to make 100 million. And no one's talking about it. People talk about the fact that Bruno Fernandes is overrated, and yet he spent. I don't get how people could say Bruno is overrated when we spent 45 million on this guy, and he pretty much gets a goal and assist a game. Yeah, Kai Havertz is silent for like games, plural, and he's seen as well. No one. I've not seen a single Twitter post report that says that Kai Havertz is grossly overrated. I haven't seen it. The Blaze says, shout out to Blaze. Thank you for joining in. Hope you're doing well, buddy. If Pogba gets sold, who will replace? Camavinga sounds like an option. We also got to remember that we have Van der Beek. We do have Van der Beek there. And also Jack Grealish. Camavinga, and obviously Van der Beek is there. Those would be my things. But we certainly need to get good money for Pogba if he's going to be sold in January in the summer. I know Juventus. The thing is, Juventus don't have money. And what Juventus want to do, and I think this is the big issue selling Pogba, is that it's not like there are tons of clubs lining up. You know, these clubs don't have the money, and United are not going to let Pogba go unless it's reasonable. You know, there's no point in saying, "Oh, we'll give you Douglas Costa and all these players that we don't want," because at the end of the day, if we trade them, we're gonna have to pay high wages to those players that aren't going to play or are bench warmers. We don't need Douglas Costa. We don't need those players, you know. So the big issue with Pogba right now is that I just don't think that there are clubs in Europe right now that can actually afford to buy, especially with the way that COVID is. The pandemic, the issue is happening right now because the clubs don't have the money. They just don't. So if Pogba doesn't go, there's something he'll go for free next summer. However, we need a new player for first 11, not always another player for bench. Bench player cannot say the club. Yep, I agree. I agree with that, bro. I do agree. We're going to be rounding off soon, next 5 minutes. So please get your last couple of questions in. We're going to go probably, last five minutes. Last 5 minutes, get your questions in. Do you think that, and let me ask this to you guys. Do you think, aside from what do you guys think? Well, 2 questions. I'll start. What do you think? What's your score prediction? And 2, do you think that if we beat Leeds and Leicester, which are our next 2 games, do you think United are in a title charge, which is what the heading of this is in, title charge? So get those in, guys, as we round up for in the next 5 minutes. Ollie will probably get sacked after Christmas if we don't beat Burnley. I don't think he'll get sacked. I don't think so, because for me, whether you like it or not, the club's standard is top 4. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, even if we lose and try to if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets 4th, he's not gonna. The most important thing for this club is the revenue from getting into the Champions League and the league position. Money. So if we get into the Champions League, it'll be the first time since Sir Alex Ferguson that we've been in a Champions League qualified 4th back to back. So if he gets that, and it's fine. And I don't think that a loss tomorrow even necessarily means that we're out of the Champions League race at all, especially the game in hand that we have. So I just don't see Leicester and Southampton, as you saw last season with Leicester. I see Leicester City taking a dive, maybe with injuries and squad depth from January. Southampton, same wise. Even today, last 2 games, drew against Arsenal, lost against Manchester City. So I don't think they're going to be up there as they currently are. I think Leicester City and Southampton are 4th or 5th now. I don't think they're going to be there for quite some time. So the question is also the same with Everton. I think Everton's are still more inconsistent. So really, it's going to be between Liverpool, Spurs, City, United, and Chelsea, in my opinion. So 5 teams for four places. And right now, I'm probably going to say that Chelsea are going to miss out. Somewhere between Chelsea and City, because City the thing with City, right, is that City they're not playing well, but I think they're still doing just about enough of what they have. The thing with Chelsea is that, like, especially if they lose tomorrow, is that are you now seeing a situation where Chelsea are only good against the bottom teams? When they come against teams that are above them, i.e. these top 10 teams like Wolves, Southampton, Leicester, etc., that they actually struggle to win. And if that's the case, then they're not going to get 4th, in my opinion. Jira, are you excited for Amad Diallo? Because I am son play for 15 looks like. Yeah, I'm very much so. Because he's a winger. He's a right winger. I'm very excited. I expect that Dan James will go out on loan in replacement because he's not going to be getting anywhere. If you haven't liked the vid already, guys, remember, like the vid. But yeah, I do think that I'm very excited because he is a right winger. I expect he'll go into the under-23s first. But I'm looking forward to seeing him get a bit of game time, especially in the early stages of the FA Cup. I think the FA Cup will start from January. I think who did we draw against? Was it Colchester? It was certainly a league. I think it was, who did United draw? That's another Google. Let me have a quick look. United FA Cup. Who did we draw against? Watford. That might be difficult. I don't know. Maybe you might not throw in an Ahmad try. Maybe you might. Who knows? But yeah, get him into an FA Cup game, an easy game, and see what it's about. Because I'm looking forward to actually playing with an actual winger, not an inside forward, not a striker, but an actual winger who can read the game, who can cross the ball into the box, do that type of stuff. Mane and Salah are kind of like inside forwards. But very good inside forwards, So it is what it is. A question: who would you rather have, Christian Pulisic or Jadon Sancho? Probably Sancho just. And the only reason why I say Sancho just is that Christian Pulisic's injury record is bad. So although I would prefer a fit Pulisic, yes, over Sancho. But Pulisic's injury record is so bad that how many games are you going to get from Pulisic a season? And that's what people need to think about. It's just like, you can be as talented as you want, and I think that Eric Bailly is our best centre-back. But if you spend most of your time on the operating table, then what good are you? For the team anyway. Not as an individual, but Score version 4-2, fair enough. Another question from Jira. Am I crazy if you think Ollie could win us the Prem? I mean, like I said, we've got to see. I mean, I'm not going to say title challenge or winning, until tomorrow, because I think tomorrow's a big test because we're at home. I think we can easily beat Leicester away because we're good at away from home. But, Leeds at home, and also it's winning mentality as well. It's like we need to get over this mentality of, a point is a good result, or a point like this, or a thing against, and it's not. We need to now be thinking about going wherever we're home and away and winning games. And that needs to come from the coach, so you don't set up in a very negative defensive way. You go and you're like, right, we're going to do our thing. We're going to impose what we want to do. And if Ollie does that, if the players respond to it, then you never know. Have you seen Plesky play? Because he's not under 23 quality, he's playing quality. Yeah, he's solid. He's solid. I've seen him a few times. I've seen him a few times, and I think this is good. I think it's a bit too early to throw him into the team as of yet. But again, we'll see what happens in January. I think, especially with the FA Cup coming in, and hopefully we're being a lot more breathing room. Because if we do win our next 2 games, I do generally think that some of the people around us are going to slip up. Well, even tomorrow, Leicester are playing Spurs, I think. So something's going to happen. Either Spurs are going to win or Leicester City are going to win. Either or, one of those teams is going to lose points, which means that if we win our game against Leeds, we will go ahead of either Spurs or Leicester City with a game in hand as well, which obviously puts a bit of breathing space between us and those guys. And that's obviously very, very important. So just rounding up, last question, I think, from Jira, as I just round off. When Martial isn't playing, why does Oli play Rashford up top, then Greenwood? Because he doesn't really have many options, I guess. I mean, sometimes he has played. I don't think he's played Rashford as a number 9. He plays him as a 2 with Rashford and Greenwood, Rashford and Martial, certainly Rashford and Greenwood. And I don't think that really is ideal. I don't think that's Ollie's ideal style, playing Rashford and Greenwood up top. That for me is not the way that we should play if we have other players available. So personally, for me, against Leipzig, if Cavani and Martial were injured, we should have played Mata. We should have played 4-2-3. We should have played 4-2-3-1 or something like that. Play McTominay and Van der Beek or Pogba, and then play Bruno, and then play Rashford and Greenwood, and then play play Mata and Rashford and Greenwood up top, or Greenwood and Rashford, one on the 2. That's what I think that he should have done, but he didn't, and we paid the price. Last question. Okay, cool. Do you think Fred could really play as our single pivot with the Chocker brothers in defense? Not long term, I do not think so. But I think in a game as open as this, we need the dynamism that Fred gives. And I just feel that in this game, as I said, I've thrown caution to the wind when it comes to conceding goals. We're going to concede goals in this game. So what's the point in trying to protect our goal? We don't, against Leeds, the aim is to outscore them. Okay, not to keep them out. If this was to keep them out, like in Europa League, fair enough. But that's got to be pointless against Leeds. They put 3 past Liverpool at Anfield with Virgil van Dijk, who's arguably one of the world's best defenders. So why are we wanting to don't let Leeds concede? If we're down to 10 men, sure. But with 11 men, let's go out, let's attack, and let's cause Leeds problems. Right, guys, thank you so much for joining. Remember, if you're new to the channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe. This is a good stream. This was a very, very good stream. I enjoyed it. Remember, if you're new to the channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, X, and smash that notification button for the latest Manchester United news. Have a nice day.